Hi students, it's nice to meet you on this platform. Though online lessons is not a match in any way for classroom teaching. But given the situation, this seems to be the best ways possible. I thought in this locked up and locked down situation, coming online, you may watch this lesson offline as well, will help you and me in keeping in touch with our study, keeping in touch with our syllabus. As I said, this is not a match, albeit will help us to keep in touch with our lessons. As you go through this video lesson, you may find some shortcomings, especially in terms of audio. After all, I am not so much techno-savvy. Realizing the limitations of the technology at hand and the inevitable situation that we are in, we need to resort to the best available means. Hence, I'm using this technology, this platform, to reach out to you. Let's study, or at least come to know a little bit about this first lesson that is given for our study, and that is Romeo and Juliet. I have prepared study material in the form of some slides, and I hope this will help you to visualize the whole situation and help your memory as well. Your textbook must be with you. Please keep it open. For some of you, I have sent the PDF format online, so you can keep it open. If not, if you've got a textbook with you, please keep it open. It would help you to understand the lesson better. Romeo and Juliet. Fine. This is a play, a drama written by William Shakespeare, greatest of the dramatist playwrights. On the scene you can see he was an English poet, a playwright, an actor, widely regarded as the greatest writer in the English language and the world's greatest dramatist. He is often called England's national poet and the Bard of Avon, or simply the Bard. Bard means, again, the poet. His extent of works, including collaborations, consist of, say, around 39 plays. 39 plays, 154 sonnets. Sonnet is a type of poem, we can say, which is of 14 lines made up of 2 stanzas, consisting 8 lines in first stanza and 6 lines in the second stanza. 2 long narrative poems and a few other verses. Some of them we do not know the authorship, but it is ascribed to him. His plays have been translated into every major living language and are performed more often than those of any other playwright. That's the popularity of Shakespearean plays. And Romeo and Juliet is one chosen work of William Shakespeare. A bit of knowledge about Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet is a tragedy written by William Shakespeare early in his career about 2 young star-crossed lovers whose deaths ultimately reconcile their feuding families. Here there are 2 lovers and their 2 families. We will come to know more about it as we progress along with the poem. So, it was among Shakespeare's most popular plays during his lifetime, and along with Hamlet, another play of Shakespeare, is one of his most frequently performed plays. Romeo and Juliet, I'm sure you must have heard it. and we have many references. And whenever somebody speaks about lovers, well, we refer to Romeo and Juliet. So much so, the lovers themselves are referred as Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet was in fact based on the life of two real lovers who both died for each other and lived in Verona, not Corona, in Verona, Italy in 1303. See, we are living in a situation where people are dying every day, and we are studying a play, a drama, where both the lovers, they die for each other. Well, it's a question to be asked whether we should die for each other or whether we should live for each other. Why did Shakespeare write this tragedy, that is Romeo and Juliet? Well, the answer to this question is that Shakespeare wanted couples to appreciate their love together. See, answer is here. He wanted the couple, the husband and wife, or the lovers, to appreciate their love for each other. People complain how they face problems that ruin their relationships, that force them to separate from each other. And we come to know, sometimes we read in the newspaper or in media about the problems that couples face in their relationships. Shakespeare wrote Romeo and Juliet to explain the worst possible the lovers can find themselves in. We may not study this particular aspect in this given poem. Two poems are given to us for studies, or two parts, and we may not study about everything. Our study is limited to Romeo's description of Juliet and Juliet's description of Romeo. But I'm sure you know the story in a nutshell, where they die for each other. What is the play about? Well, Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet tells the story of a young man, Romeo, and a woman, that is Juliet, who fall in love but are destined for tragedy due to their warring families. The families, which we said in the beginning, were feuding families. There was rivalry between these two families. The name of the family, the Montagues and the Capulets. So, one belongs to the Montague families, Romeo, and Juliet belongs to the Capulet family. Okay, so they both fall in love, and the play progresses and ends in the death of both the hero, that is Romeo, and if you consider Juliet the heroine, Juliet. Let's go forward and see. You will find here two families. One is Montagues and the other one is Capulet family. Now you will find Romeo is from the Montague family and Juliet is from the Capulet family. So we have got the Lord Montague and the Lady Montague, that is the parents of Romeo. Then we have got the Lord Capulet and the Lady Capulet, that is the parents of Juliet. Then other people related to the play whom you don't come across in the study which is given to us, which is a limited part. Fine. Let's discuss the content here. What is the content discussed? As I said, first part we have got, which is taken from Act 1, Scene 5. This tragedy, this drama is of 3 acts. Act can be understood as part 1, part 2 and part 3. So we have got Act 1, Act 2 and Act 3. So the first part, that is Romeo's description of Juliet, is taken from Act 1, Scene 5, 5th scene. So we will be studying how does Romeo describe Juliet. Very beautifully he describes the beauty of Juliet. He begins, "Oh, she doth teach the torches to burn bright." What a eulogy given to Juliet. What a praise given to Juliet. All these things happen. Now what you're going to study, a dance, a party, a get-together is organized by Capulets. The Montagues are not invited because they are rivals, they are enemies. But Romeo goes to this particular get-together, this dance ball, in disguise, because being the son of the rival family, he doesn't want to be identified as the rival. Hence, he disguises himself and goes. The question is, why he has to go for this dance ball? He was not aware that Juliet would be there. In fact, he didn't even know who Juliet was. Here is the point. Romeo was in love with, we can say, inverted commas, with a girl called Rosalind, who was the maid of Juliet. And he knew very well that Rosalind would be present in this dance ball, in this party, in this get-together. So he goes there to meet her. And then what happens? Instead of meeting Rosalind, he ends up falling in love with Juliet. It was a love at first sight. When he saw Juliet, the beauty was so attractive, so enarming, that he falls in love with her and forgets completely about Rosalind. And he begins to describe her. How does he describe? The first sentence says there, she doth teach the torches to burn bright. It is a dark night and you require torches to illuminate the darkness. Hence, there were torches. But what he says, the torches are burning. And Juliet's beauty makes this particular torch or all the torches to burn brighter. You see, beauty has that much of capacity for Romeo. Further he says, it seems she hangs upon the cheek of night. Figure of speech is used here. She hangs upon the cheek of night. See, how can Juliet hang upon the cheek of night? Now, how can you imagine the cheek of night? Hence, when we understand a poem, it's very important to imagine the images created by the poet here. Otherwise, it's a little difficult to understand a poem. Hence, he says, she is hanging on the cheek of the night. Now see, she's so bright. So she's hanging on the cheek of the night. As a result, the night becomes brighter or the darkness is defeated. And now there is a comparison here. A simile is used. What is the simile? Which is in the third line. He says, as a rich jewel in an Ethiop's ear. Look at the image here. Okay. Ethiop, that is, refers to an Ethiopian woman. Now, Ethiopian woman in complexion, she is very dark. Very, very dark. Now just imagine a dark woman with a dark complexion wearing a rich jewel in her ear. How much it must be shining. Now what is that? See the contrast between the dark complexion of the woman and the bright or that whiteness of that jewel, which is sparkling, which is shining very much. And Shakespeare is using this contrast not to highlight the Ethiopian woman's beauty, but to highlight Romeo or Juliet's beauty here. Juliet's beauty. He says he is comparing Juliet's beauty not to Ethiopian woman, but to the beauty of that jewel which she is wearing or which is hanging in her ears. So he says, as a rich jewel in an Ethiop's ear. Further he says, beauty too rich for use, for earth too dear. Beauty too rich for use. He says this beauty cannot be found on the earth. In fact, you can't even withhold this beauty. It is so much and it is too much. That's why he says it's too much and too dear for the earth. Remember this too dear, we will be studying the next lesson on this too dear. So let us understand the meaning of too dear there. But here too dear means very costly. You cannot find this here. That beauty is very costly. So Juliet is so much beautiful for Romeo. Just imagine, till now he was thinking only Rosalind is very beautiful. And now when he finds somebody more beautiful than Rosalind, he forgets Rosalind and he says, well, the beauty of Juliet is unimaginable. Go further, he says, so shows a snowy dove trooping with crows. Once again, see the contrast here. A snowy dove. You find here a dove, a pigeon, is so bright, is so white, spotless and very white. Now in the background of the snow, you can imagine when snow falls, it covers everywhere and you find as if there is a screen, white screen. Now at the background of this white screen, you find a dove. And that is what Juliet is for Romeo. To bring out the contrast, Romeo says, Snow, so shows a snowy dove trooping with crows. Now, a crow is supposed to be dark. And when the crow is very dark, the dove is supposed to be very white. Now, you can bring out the contrast here, and Shakespeare is using this contrast to highlight the beauty of Juliet. As yonder lady over her fellows shows. Now, Juliet is not alone. She has her maids who are dancing with her, who are accompanying her for this dancing ball or for this get together. All of them are there. But Romeo's eyes are fixed only on Juliet. Hence, he says, yonder lady over her fellows, her maids are there, her attendants are there, but he identifies only Juliet. And now, the next step, what he says, the measure done, I will watch her place of stand. One thing you must remember, Romeo has not come to light. Romeo is hiding somewhere. In fact, he is in disguise. But he has been watching all that is happening right in front of him. And he is simply in different world altogether ever since he has seen Juliet. Now, the dance party comes to an end. The measure done, measure that refers to dance. It is done, it's over. And what he says, I will watch her place of stand. Now, Romeo wants to go to that particular stage for that particular place where the dance was being held. And he says, I would like to go there and watch that particular place. What else to do? Further he says, and touching her hand, make blessed my rude hand. What does he want to do? He wants to go and touch her hand. He wants to touch Juliet. He wants to see how real she is because she looks like an angel for him. He looks like a fairy for him. So he says, I want to touch her hand. And the purpose is not to test whether she is a fairy, whether she is an angel or not. He says he wants to make his rude hand blessed. Romeo considered himself very rude. He considers himself very much unsophisticated, whereas he finds Juliet very much sophisticated from an aristocratic family. Hence he says, if I touch her hand, my hand would become blessed. My hand would become holy. How true it is it possible? You can imagine, dear students. And he says, further, he asks a question to himself. What does he ask? What is the question? Did my heart love till now? Very strange thing. How Rosalind would have reacted if she was to come to know the thoughts of Romeo. Because till now, Romeo was in love with Rosalind and Rosalind was in love with Romeo. Whereas here he says, did my heart love till now? Meaning to say, all that happened in my life so far is not real, he says. That was not love. Maybe he would consider it was a kind of attraction. It was an attraction. It was a kind of crush. So not real. But he says, this is real love. What has happened so far was not real. So he asks a question, did my heart love till now? Meaning to say, my heart never loved till now, which means it did not love Rosalind. But at the same time, he's telling, yes, I love Juliet now very much and I am in love with her. And he says, forswear it, sight, I never saw true beauty till this night. And he considers Juliet's beauty as true beauty. And he says, well, I never saw a beauty of this sort in my life. And he considers that beauty as true beauty. Which is a true beauty? Maybe you can imagine what is true beauty and what is false beauty. We feel attracted to so many people sometimes. We feel attracted to so many situations, to so many places. And where is the beauty? That it is said, beauty beholds the eyes of the beholder, or beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. So, can there be a true beauty in a person? Can there be a true beauty in a place? Well, all these questions may help us to understand the poem better. Now, this was the first part. This is how Romeo describes Juliet. Now, let's go to the second part, which is taken from Act 3, Scene 2. As I said, this drama is of 3 acts, Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. Now, we are going over to Act 3, Scene 2, which means in between Romeo and Juliet's description of each other, many things have taken place. Now, let's see how Juliet describes Romeo. Juliet's description of Romeo. How does Juliet begin? Juliet begins, "Come night, come Romeo, come thou day in night." Even this particular scene takes place in the night. You must remember, throughout the play, throughout the drama, things unfold during night because Romeo and Juliet's families were rivals. Hence, Romeo and Juliet were not allowed to meet during the daytime. They were not allowed to meet in public. It was not possible because of the rivalry between the two families. Hence, Juliet is awaiting the night so that she is able to meet Romeo. So here she says, "Come night, come Romeo, come thou day in night." You see, she considers Romeo as day. Let's go back to what did Romeo tell Juliet. How did he describe her? He said, "She teaches the torches to burn bright." Whereas here, Juliet says, "Thou art day in night." It's everywhere darkness, surrounded by night. It is dark pitch night over here. But if Romeo comes, it will be like a day. Meaning to say, Romeo brings so much of brightness along with him. Further she says, "Thou will lie upon the wings of night." Thou will lie upon the wings of night. So she is expecting Romeo to come to him. How? By lying on the wings of night. See the imagination of Romeo. Rather, how Shakespeare is creating different types of images in our mind. And further, he says, "Whiter than new snow on a raven's back." Whiter than new snow on a raven's back. Who is compared to what? Here, Juliet compares Romeo to a new snow on a raven's back. A raven, a crow, which we call in our ordinary language. Imagine, the other slide shows you here a crow which is dark again, and if the white snow falls on the back of this black crow, how does it look? In the previous part of the lesson, I had told you Shakespeare uses the contrast between the two, and again here white and dark, the images are used, and the contrast. There, say Romeo says that she hangs upon the cheek of night, or she teaches the torches to burn bright. Then he also compares her to a snowy dove trooping with the crows. Whereas here Juliet says that he is like a new snow on a raven's back. And she continues and she says, "Come gentle night, come loving black-browed night." So she's inviting the night, and she calls that night as gentle night. Sometimes the dark night, we say, or the night becomes terrible for us, especially when we suffer, when we are not keeping well, when you are unable to sleep well. The night becomes too long. It is too long and you are unable, and you wait for the dawn to come. Whereas here, Juliet, though in the darkness, she is waiting for Romeo to come, she calls that night as gentle night, gentle night. And she says, "Come, loving black-browed night." She's not frightened of the night because she's going to meet the love of her life. She's going to meet Romeo, whom she loves so much. So she's calling the night because she can meet her lover only during the night. Hence, she wants the night to come fast. And what does she ask the night to give her? She says, "Black-browed night, give me my Romeo. Give me my Romeo." She can't ask the daytime. She can't ask any other time to see Romeo. She can ask only the night to bring her Romeo. As I said, they are unable to meet otherwise. Hence, she's asking the night, "Give me my Romeo." Further, her desire, she says, "And when I shall die, take him and cut him out into little stars." Very strange thing she demands here, or she desires. What is that? "When I die," meaning to say, you see, Romeo should not die first. I must die first. So when I die, but what she says, well, what should happen to Romeo? Take Romeo and cut him into little stars. You must have heard adults when they say, people when they die, they go up to heaven. And they look up to heaven sometimes, and when they see the bright stars, they say, is a member of my family. That particular star is a member of my family. It can be my father, it can be my mother, or whoever, our beloved people who have left us and gone. We feel, we think that they become the stars. And here, Juliet is telling, well, take him and cut him into stars. Now here there is a purpose why Juliet wants Romeo to be cut into stars. She says, he will make the face of heaven so fine. Already she has said, what is that? Romeo, you are a day in the night. You can make night so brighter, you are a day in the night. And now she says, well, if you cut Romeo into stars, what would happen? He will make the face of heaven very bright. And what is the face of heaven? The sky is the face of heaven. Remember, heaven, we will be studying in the later, where Coempo, poet says, heaven if you are not on this earth, meaning to say you are right on this earth. But here, people always think heaven means it is on the other side of the sky. So, sky is called as the face of the heaven because that is seen to us. So, Juliet says, well, he will make the face of heaven very bright. If Romeo is cut into stars, then he will make the face of heaven, the sky, very bright, very fine. Then see her final wish, that all the world will be in love with night. Now remember, nobody likes night because as I said, it is dark. It is dark, so we don't want. In fact, if there is no electricity in our houses, we don't want to spend that night and we wait for the electricity because we want light, we want brightness. But here she says, the world will be in love with night. And what is the reason the world will be in love with night? Because Romeo is cut into stars and stars are seen only during the night time. So she says, the world will be in love with the night. And she says, and pay no worship to the garish sun. Very strange. She says, well, Romeo, all the attention of the people, the whole world should go to Romeo. They should forget about worshipping the sun. Sun refers to daytime. Now, people would be so much in love with Romeo that they wish that night should never end, which means they should forget about the daytime. Daytime, that is sun. They should never remember or they should never desire in their heart daytime. They should only think of night and they should worship Romeo. They should worship the stars because he is her lover. And with this, the poem comes to an end. We wish poem should have been a little longer for us to understand better. But only that much is given to us. We study. Hence, a few ideas for you to understand the poem. If it was a classroom, we could have discussed a little more. Let's see if God gives us an opportunity, we will discuss. Now just see this slide here. Certain themes are discussed in this poem. Which are the themes? You will find there the theme of death, the theme of darkness and light. Then you have got marriage. Then you have got the celebration of love. Then you have got the fate, that is both of them end their life. They commit almost, it is wrong, it may be wrong to use the word they committed suicide, but positively we can say they died for each other, they died for the love of each other. But still these themes are used in this poem. So thank you so much for going through this video. And I hope I have helped you to understand this particular lesson. If not to the satisfaction, but at least to a certain extent, I hope I have succeeded in my effort. Keep safe and keep happy throughout this day.